In the year 1985, Data East released a quirky little boxing arcade game called Ring King, which later made its way to the NES. Now, if you know anything about retro gaming folklore, you'll know exactly why this little title is infamous. You see, between rounds, your battered boxer plonks himself down on a stool and his trainer rushes in to restore his health. Except, the 8-bit animation is, well, let's just say it looks less like a quick pep talk and a lot more like some extremely enthusiastic encouragement. But you probably knew about this already, and if we're going to be honest, it's been completely blown out of proportion. All of those rumours of angry parents and recalled cartridges, I mean, it sounds great as a headline or a YouTube thumbnail, but it didn't happen. However, that doesn't mean that this sort of stuff doesn't happen for real. There have been numerous accidental things left in games, like the time a South Park pilot was accidentally left on a Tiger Woods PGA Tour game disc, or the time a Kami accidentally shipped with an IGN logo on the front cover that was obviously not photoshopped out properly. So let's crack on and look at 4 examples that actually did cause quite a bit of controversy. And for all of your angry video fans, this first one's going to be quite familiar. Roger Rabbit. LGN. Getting overly angry about a game that, honestly, compared to some of the tripe me and my mates grew up with on systems like the Amstrad and ZX Spectrum, is pretty much Game of the Year material. Now, the reason I bring this one up is because fans of classic nerd episodes will remember what happened when James rang the number found in the game. And for all of you people out there that have forgotten, he found that 2 decades later, and 2 decades ago as of the recording of this episode, the number had changed to a 6-line number, and hilarity ensued. Yeah, look, I get it. It's a phone number attached to a kid's game. Hilarity ensues once again. But obviously, back when the game was released, it wasn't a party line. And the fact that it is now, it's just a happy accident. Terrible wording aside, the entire reason I brought all of this up is because it segues quite nicely to The Last of Us. Yeah, stay with me. When the original The Last of Us launched on the PS3 back in 2013, players were scouring the post-apocalyptic ruins for every little detail that they could find. On one particular in-game bulletin board, there was an advertisement for a pest control company. The developers, thinking they were being clever, slapped a fake phone number on the bottom of it, 1-800-555. Now, usually in movies and TV, shoving a 555 in the middle of a number makes it completely dead and fictional. That's the standard fake number rule. But it turns out that rule doesn't quite work the exact same way when you slap a 1-800 toll-free prefix in front of it. And curious gamers out there that actually did pick up the phone to ring the number to find out what would happen weren't greeted with an exterminator. Oh, no. Instead, they got a sexy lady in a no doubt smashing blouse asking them to take their trousers off. Naughty Dog's frantically had to patch the game to remove the unintentional Easter egg. But Dan, I hear you moaning, this wasn't that big of a deal. The Last of Us was an 18 rated game anyway. Look, okay, it's not made for kids. You want something made for kids where the same sort of thing happened? It's not gaming related, but it is still kind of relevant, and honestly, I don't know how I'm ever going to be able to bring this up in any other video, so here goes. In 2024, Mattel released a line of special edition dolls for the movie Wicked, and on the packaging of said dolls, instead of linking to the official movie website wickedmovie.com, they accidentally printed the URL and removed the movie part, which, if you didn't know, because I didn't, was a massive hardcore adult entertainment studio. Imagine buying a Wicked doll for your kid, typing in the website on the back of the box to see what else you could get your daughter, and then... oh my. At least Naughty Dog's mistake was an adult-only zombie game and not stamped on the box of children's toys. So, yeah, every cloud and all that. Now, if you was a gamer back in 2007, you may remember when Microsoft was heavily pushing that Windows Vista was the future of gaming. And to help push their shiny new and completely bloated operating system, they decided to port Halo 2 over to the PC. But in classic Microsoft fashion, things didn't exactly go too smoothly. In fact, there was one major crack. You see, during game development, the programmers, as is often the case, left a stupid internal joke in the code for no other reason than to make each other laugh during the overly long crunch hours. Now, usually these get scrubbed out by the time the game goes gold. However, that isn't always the case. One of the developers who worked on the game's map editing tool left a very specific image in the code. If the editor encountered a specific amalgam scene specification, better known as a .ass file error, instead of bringing up a boring string of error text, it would pop up an actual photo of a bloke pulling his trousers down and mooning at the camera. A literal arse error. Now, this was obviously supposed to be just for the internal team, just a little internal joke, but for whatever reason, obviously someone forgot to hit the delete button. The game was certified, the discs were pressed, and the boxes were getting ready to be shipped to retailers. And then Microsoft realised they were about to ship Master Chief with some random developer's backside attached. Because of this, they actually had to delay the launch of the game and scrambled to fix the physical copies, slapping a brand new partial nudity warning sticker over the game's original ESRB rating on the boxes, just to get it out the door. Just imagine being the guy who had to walk into the Microsoft boardroom and explain to the executives that their flagship multi-million-dollar shooter was being delayed because Dave from programming couldn't keep his pants on in the error logs. Absolute perfection. Right, let's move away from the gritty world of zombies and space marines and look at the squeaky clean, perfect, nothing ever goes wrong world of Nintendo. A company who is a tad too overprotective of their image, the Disney of the video game industry, you might say. However, back in 2017, when the company was about to launch Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for the Nintendo Switch, they decided to add a few new extra characters from other properties to the roster. And one of those characters was Inkling from Splatoon. Now, if you've played Splatoon, you know that these squid kids have a tad more attitude than your average Nintendo character, right? So, with that in mind, when the Inkling girl did her victory pose, she would turn around and hit you with her victory animation, pumping her fist in the air and proudly slapping her other hand onto her bicep, just like the Women We Can Do It pose. Now, to the average Japanese developer, or even to us over here in the UK and the States, this is just a standard pose that you've probably seen multiple times before in different mediums. However, to anyone playing the game in Italy, or France, or Spain, or large chunks of Latin America, placing your hand on your bicep whilst pumping your fist is known as a brands d'honneur, aka the Italian salute. The what? Essentially, it's the Italian equivalent of telling people to stick it right up there. You get the idea. Think of it like this. It's the middle finger, but they're utilising their entire arm for maximum disrespect. Look, I don't know, for me, I actually find it quite funny. Imagining an Italian family all sitting around the TV and the characters randomly start flipping each other the birdo. To those in the know, it was absolutely glorious. Players were clipping the footage and the internet was having a massive field day with the fact that Nintendo's latest all-age party game featured a literal up yours gesture. Obviously Nintendo caught wind of this extremely quickly, this gesture that was really only going to be offensive to certain parts of the world, but in those parts of the world it was a PR nightmare and they had to get to work super quick. And unlike Microsoft, who scrambled to print physical warning stickers for their boxed PC games, Nintendo handled it with a typical modern day update. Patch 1.1 was an update that quietly tweaked the animation. The Inkling girl still pumps her fist, but her other hand now just rests safely and awkwardly by her side. No apology, no big press release, just a silent, ninja-like fix to stop a fictional squid from visually assaulting half of Europe. Meaning that you can still see Inkling do the naughty, just as long as you never update your game. The Nintendo Seal of Quality. A badge that stood for honour, greatness, and most importantly, a hefty chunk of profits going right into Wario's pockets. In order to get one, you had to adhere to some of the most draconian, puritanical rules in the history of entertainment. That means no blood, no religious symbols, no swearing, and absolutely positively under no circumstances, any fun. Yeah, alright, can you imagine if drama channels were around back then? Oh, they'd have a field day with this thing, wouldn't they? Wouldn't they just? Especially when LucasArts decided to port their point-and-click adventure game over to the NES, Maniac Mansion. The legendary Douglas Crockford was put in charge of the port, and Nintendo's evaluators hit him with a big old list of demands. They had to change small phases like the meteor is going to be pissed to the meteor is going to be mad. They had to remove a poster of a woman in a swimsuit, and they even had to change the name of the arcade cabinet in the game from Kill Thrill, which they changed to, oh my god, okay, they changed it to Muff Diver. Surprisingly, that didn't get approved either, so they had to find another 4-letter word to change in place of muff, and they decided to change it to tuna. Anyway, outside of all of this, it didn't really matter anyway because the game wasn't released yet. All of these fixes were getting done before the game was released. Well, on the NES at least. What it was already released on by this point was the Commodore 64. And on top of everything just mentioned still being in the game on that system, none of that was what caused the outrage that I'm going to be talking about in this segment. It was what was on the legendary box art. Yep, written on the back of the box was, of course, a short synopsis on what the game was all about, and in hilarious typical 80s fashion, you had an over-exaggeratingly long list of words used to describe the story. For example, a story of love, rock and roll music, soft drinks, punk rockers, sleazy publishers, microwave ovens, wealth, purple slime, strange aliens, lust, insanity. Hang on. Did you just say the word lust? Why, yes I did. And it was that word, that single word, that almost got the game completely banned. Well, completely banned in just one toy shop.
There's a magical place, we're on our way there, with toys in the millions all under one roof. It's called Toys R Us. Soon after that,
Toys R Us was the daddy of video game sales at the time. Nothing even came close. So if they weren't happy, you weren't happy. You had to sell your games at Toys R Us if you wanted to make a profit. End of.
under one roof. It's called Toys R Us, Toys R Us, Toys R Us.
And it turns out they were completely fine with it. That was until some random 80s Karen walked in, read the back of the box and felt that it was her God-given right, no, sorry, her duty, to write a nasty worded letter to the head of the toy shop, which resulted in them pulling the game off the shelf in all American shops. Literally, that was it. That one word was the reason that the game couldn't be sold in Toys R Us. LucasArts were forced to recall the packaging, change up every single copy and reship the game so that all of the other protective mums can go back to being good role model parents, protecting their children from the sins hidden away in that giraffe poaching toy shop. And if you ask me, I say good on them. Did you know that there are now 6 official Director's Cut episodes available right now for supporters of this show? Yep, these are extended supersized versions of my more recent videos, giving you an entire extra story based on each video's topic that the rest of YouTube doesn't get to see. And that's not even counting the crazy amounts of other exclusive videos hidden away in the super secret password zone. I mean, there are literally hundreds of videos sitting in there right now. No ads, no annoying sponsorships interrupting the flow, no algorithm nonsense, just pure, uninterrupted pleasure. So if you want to get into the password zone and fancy supporting the show whilst you're at it, hit the links down below. Just like all of these people do. Yes, all of these names down here. Names like Thomas Coyote Baxter, Livestream, Caesar De Souza, Vikeko, Akatimo84, Stephen Hefner, Dina81, Kematura Villarreal, Derakuda, Enraged Gecko, Ian Quell, Mind of the Unsane, XZX, Andrew Dalton, Bram Perez, British Video Game Nerd, Caroline Stephen, Caesar, Chevmatic, Chris aka Brackman, Conrad Constantine, To Action Saxon, Dina Insidious, Bliss J's Manchild, Jabba Al Aiden, Jeff Mianowski, Keiju Samurai 1985, Livestream, Mass Replay, Mike 6 Fallon, Nick Bertner, Patrick Grip Jansen, Paul Float, Richard Aldrich, Shadow Dragon, Swift Justice Peterson, The Sneaky Ferret, Vitas Varnes, and Ye Old Hamburglar. Thank you to all of you people, however you decide to support the show, really cannot thank you enough. Like I say, if you want to support the show, there's links down below, but otherwise, please, 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 just hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, sharing, all this stuff we always say, us YouTubers say, it genuinely does help. So yeah, if you like this video and you can't help financially, just hitting that subscribe button and sharing whatever, all of that sort of stuff, really, really does help. And the like button, and hype is still a thing apparently if you're on mobile phones, whatever. However you decide to do it, thank you. But until next time, guys, this is DJ Slope signing out, and hopefully I'll see you all next time. I've just seen in the viewfinder I'm not wearing the correct hat. Oh well, there you go, never mind. Bye-bye.